everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner on this amazing, beautiful Sunday. We have great weather here. I'm in Maryland. It rained like crazy yesterday. So this is the sunshine after the rain. So thank you for joining us. Of course, throughout this conversation, I'm sure it's going to be amazing as always. Make sure you comment or just reach out to us, especially if something really spoke to you and it helped you, on today's episode. And if you missed any of the other ones, we have tons of them replays throughout the year. I can't count how many Sundays it was since I think we started in January, right, guys? I think. I don't remember. It's a blur.
In December, I think.
Oh, yes. Right. It's before so it was at the end of 2024. So you can go back and watch that because we have tons of value here and content. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach. Basically, my brand is Believe in the Unseen. So it's all about believing in yourself, believing in that goal, that it's sitting there waiting for you and that it's attainable. And also my purpose is to reveal the potential that's already hidden inside you and guide you to your truest desires. So I help individuals, businesses, entrepreneurs basically achieve milestones in whatever that you desire. So again, like I'm in the Maryland area and I'm going to pass it to my amazing colleague, Alicia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alicia Spinoza. I am in Sweden. And we have also nice weather today, really. I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside and to create that life in alignment with their values. And I never say about my brand, but it is called the Casa de Diamantes in Spanish, and it's Diamond House. And because I believe that everybody is a diamond, and we have so much things inside us that don't allow us to shine bright like a diamond. And for me, it's very important to help people to shine bright like a diamond. That is me, Paul.
Thank you, Alicia. My name's Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario, and I am a Procter Gallagher consultant. I'm an adventure traveler. I'm an author, a speaker, but it wasn't always this way. I was doing the work, or I thought I was, personal or positive thinking and setting goals, but I just wasn't getting the results that matched that. I felt really stuck, and I'm sure you felt stuck at times as well. But that's why I've decided to dedicate my life to helping you create the life you want and help you achieve your most elusive personal and professional goals. Back to you, Jamel.
All right. I love it. We talked in depth about basically what we're sharing here today is a beautiful article to remind us of the magic word that we discussed on not many months, but many weeks ago, right? And it's interesting, as you're growing and making things happen, time kind of flies by so fast. So it seemed longer than it is actually for me. So the magic word is attitude. And attitude is so important to everything. It's your vibrational state. And what this article really talks about is seeing the opportunity in crisis. And the title of the article is called Two Brushstrokes. And before we even get into it, let's talk a little bit about vibrational state, the magic word, attitude. Not many people wake up thinking about their attitude or aware of it. And we can kind of get lost from the outside world and allow it to shape how we feel. Any thoughts come to mind here for any of you on what we can speak about with attitude and vibration, to kind of introduce into this article?
Powerful one, right? I was thinking how you started. You say like, oh, it is a beautiful weather here. Yesterday was a lot of rain. And you say, after the rain, it will come the sun. That was and it's exactly what it is about this. Having an attitude that sometimes it will rain a lot and sometimes it will be a sun. It will be a beautiful weather and so. But it's inside you. When you decide, your attitude will decide, is that bad or is that good? You know? So it's about attitude. So I love the raining days because I can be inside and read a book or meditate longer or doing something inside. And when it's possible to go out, well, you can do that. So in Sweden, we have the weather here is always very cold and sometimes also raining and it's windy. And when the sun comes, then everybody wants out. But this is the thing that the energy that we put in is you look like, oh, it's raining, oh, then you will get in the a lower vibration. And then because you are putting your happiness in the hands of the weather. Are you with me there? You say, if it's a sun, then I am happy. If it's bad weather, then I'm not so good, not so happy. This is that one example when we let the outside control our vibrations.
Yeah, that's so good, Alicia. And
I don't know if it was so clear.
No, it's good because our attitude is going to determine our perspective, right? And like everything, and we're going to get into it in this article, you can look at things from two sides of the coin. And our attitude is going to determine what our perspective really is. I mean, if you have a bad attitude, you're going to look at the negative side of everything. You're going to look at, and as Alicia just said, going to allow the external environment dictate how we're going to feel rather than determining for ourselves how we want to feel. And that will in turn determine our perspective, which will, as Jamel said, put us in a particular vibration. If we want to look at the negative side of things, we're going to be in this really down negative vibration and we're going to attract more negative things. And if we decide, so that decision, that's our attitude, will help determine what our perspective is and what's happening and what we want to determine what will happen or how we will behave, not in a reaction, but in a response to what's going on so that we stay in control.
Yeah, I love it. And thanks for bringing that up, Alicia, and catching that, after the rain. And good morning, Donna. Thanks for joining us and tuning in. We appreciate you being here, and as well as everyone else here live and that watches the replay. I was thinking about that weather because my wife, she doesn't like the rain. So her vibrational state, it'll go down when it rains. And I love you, sweetheart. Don't worry. This is all good. But I like all weather. I always been that way. So it's interesting. I could stand in the rain and just be happy as if it's sunshine. I always been like that. Probably all the bike rides and stuff being caught in the rain, but even as a kid, the rain didn't bother me. And that reminds me of something, is to see the good in everything, regardless of the weather, regardless of whatever situation you are in your life or your results. There's good there. And as you look for the good, you'll find more of it. And this is also about your perception, how you perceive things. So your perception is key, especially when you develop it even more. And what we're talking about, vibrational state, I had to bring out our stick person here so that way people can kind of relate to it. So up here at the top is the conscious mind, down here is the subconscious, and here is your body, right? And these are your sensory factors. You can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And usually weather, for instance, if it's raining, you see the rain, you hear the rain, and maybe you're caught in the rain. Obviously, you're touching it, especially if you don't have an umbrella, and you're allowing it to basically shape how you feel, especially if you're getting poured on and you didn't want to get your nice new shoes wet, right? So now you're feeling bad and you're upset. But up here, you thought about it first. Like, oh man, I didn't know it was going to rain. I didn't look at the weather and I feel dumb or whatever. You're having these negative thoughts and then you'll have negative feelings. So you're allowing the outside world to shape your inside. So it can be reversed, meaning, well, at least I got my hair washed, right? If you didn't have an umbrella. See, this is changing your perception. You're seeing the good in a negative situation. So that's basically in your vibrational state, your body vibrates. Basically, down here is the body. It vibrates what's here in the subconscious. So vibration, everything moves, nothing rests. We live in an ocean of motion. Even the things that appear to be solid with your sight are actually moving around at a very high rate of speed to appear to be solid. So you can really go deep about that, but vibration, law of vibration is a primary law, and it's very important to understand and appreciate, because without it, we can kind of get lost in life and produce things that we don't want by lowering our vibration based on experience on the outside. Yeah, just kind of wanted to explain that a little bit. So Alicia, I think you have some props coming up. No.
Yeah, we are going to talk about this. If you can up with the
Yeah.
article, the two brush strokes, because this is like live. What these articles talk about here, you see. Well, you can read the Jamel.
Yeah. Okay. So with two brush strokes, it says right here, the Chinese use two brush strokes to write the word crisis. One brush stroke stands for danger, the other for opportunity.
Yeah.
So in a crisis, you need to be aware of the danger, but also recognize the opportunity.
Yeah, and this is what I is about the rain and the sun. It's like you cannot, if you are going to have always good weather all the time, you will find yourself not appreciating that. But if you have the different weathers, the different seasons, you will appreciate more that. And here is the thing, that life is like this also. It have a positive side, the crisis, but I also or the a negative side, but also a positive side, and it's with everything. And if we only focused on the negative and forget the opportunity in every situation is like, I have here a $2. I don't know, there are not more $2 in USA, yeah.
Yeah, they don't make it anymore. Yeah.
No, but it has two sides. The one where you have your I don't know who is here, but also the other side. And this is, you cannot come to the to the store and have only one side. You need to have the both sides. And so is life. It will be always the two sides. And when we start to see life like a opportunity in every situation, even if it is not good situation that we say that is not good, we will more likely to learn more about life or to feel better than if you only focus in the crisis. Are you with me here?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll expand on that a bit. So there's this two brushstrokes idea, right? I mean that it's the word crisis in Chinese, but the idea is that one stroke means danger, and the other is opportunity. And what that is saying, I think, in this article is that the two brushstrokes captures the dual nature of almost every moment or major moment in life. So every challenge carries some risk and fear, right, or danger, but also there exists a possibility of growth, right, an opportunity. So life often reveals itself that way to us, and each moment holds within it this shadow of loss or the light of possibility. So the first brushstroke, there's danger. So that really demands respect. It is warning us to be alert, to be aware, but to prepare to grow sharper and wiser. And it's reminding us that nothing is guaranteed. Risk is real. And complacency, for complacent, well, that carries a cost too. And the second brushstroke of opportunity, that is inviting us to be courageous, to step forward. It's opening the door that fear would have kept closed. And we've talked about fear before, and fear is going to keep that door closed. So it's telling us that within every uncertainty, there's a chance. And I got a little prop like Alicia likes. So it's a chance to stretch ourselves, to rise up, and to really, really become more than we were before, to become what we truly can be.
Yeah, this is amazing. And Alicia, see how you're inspiring us to find props?
Yeah. More visual for people.
Yeah, we see in images, right? We think in pictures.
Yeah.
So that this quote here was really good because it helps explain it a little more too, that you see on the screen. Among other things, crises represent opportunities to grow in wisdom. When you approach each crisis with this attitude, you will pluck the opportunity out of each situation and benefit from it. This attitude also sets the stage mentally for you to continue to grow. So basically, it's really perception, right? A lot of times when we see a crisis, two things can be in the same thing, right? So this is actually the law of polarity as well. There's opposite, equal, and opposite of everything. So, and also, what do you see in this crisis? Right? I remember it was a beautiful story. I don't know what study I was reading or listening to. And they talked a lot about, let me stop sharing. They talked a lot about, there was this really bad, I think it was a fire, and a lot of homes were lost, and families lost their homes. Some lost pets. It was pretty dark. And there was a newscaster interviewing families, and they interviewed one family, and they were saying, "Hey, we lost everything. Our pictures, our the history, our pet or whatever, everything, the couch that we love, everything, and they were on the news, and they went to another family, and they weren't as upset. They weren't like crying and whatever. They interviewed them, and the father said, We may have lost all our material things, but we still have our family. So they were celebrating that they're all alive and together. So that's a huge example to kind of look at how you can perceive the same thing in different ways, right? And that's what I mean by look for the good, because there's good in every situation, and that's the power of perception. And that will also shift your vibrational state, especially in those moments where you need it shifted, where it's going down a dark place, right? So crises represent opportunities to grow in wisdom. And this is why you're here, to grow in wisdom, right? To know more about yourself, to know more about the power of your mind, and to create the results that you want. So did any of you ever heard that story before? It was in something.
I think
Yeah.
I heard it was similar to that. Yeah. Or something very similar. I think I did hear that, Janelle.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of paraphrased it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the first time I hear that. Yeah,
Okay.
it is. I mean, as I said before, life is like the duality that you say, Paul, the positive and the negative in everything. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if you win the lottery, it has a positive side and a negative side, and it depends on how you use that. Of course, if you win the lottery, you are going, almost people focus on the positive. Oh, I won the lottery, and so you know. But it is something that is negative. People focus on that, and according to neurolinguistic programming, we can affect how we the our state of mind by what we focus, what we believe, the internal dialogue that we have, or physiology. Because, for example, if you're like, oh, I'm so happy, and you are like that, it will, your brain like, no, no, you are not happy. But if you are like, oh, I'm so happy, I'm this, you will. So we can affect ourself, our state of mind. So if we all the time check for the things that are negative, then it will be difficult to see the opportunity in these things. And of course, we have different situations. For example, if you are sick, if you have economical problems, because it is the base of the Maslow theory, you need the base in place in order to be able to see beyond the negative things. But if you have your health is not good, and if you have economical problem, then you will only see the negative all the time. Or, for example, mm, if you don't feel that you are loved, that you are part of a community, or you feel alone, it will also very difficult to see the positive in things. Or if you feel that you are not good enough. So when you have these three levels, you work with that, and it's what we help with our programs. So we are different, even if we in the base we have the same program. We help people to create um, a mental state that, independent on how you have in those three different levels, you will anyway have a great attitude. And Bob normally say that, it's not only Bob that says so. Many of our teachers, and they say it is easy to have a good attitude when everything is okay. The problem is when we don't have the basics need, satisfied, that is more difficult to create. But I have my problems here. So if you go all the time wearing these black glasses all the time, you will not be able to see the beautiful in life, the color of the everything that we have around us, because you will see all this down to black. And instead, if you set your my this is my opportunities glasses, like it's more easy to see everything when you put the opportunity glasses. I have even here opportunity. Yeah, so this is an opportunity in Swedish. So yeah.
I love that. I love that, Alicia. Yeah. And again, for those that are here live, feel free to interact with us, engage, drop a comment or question what we're discussing here. And this is so important because, mentorship is key to seeing in a different way. We've kind of been conditioned to see all these negative things happening to us. In reality, it's happening for us. And the more you realize that, the higher awareness you would have. And there was something in the article where they talked about, seeing the opportunity. This builds wisdom and mental strength. Mental strength is, basically awareness. But notice, none of us are taught or born with that, right? We're not born with this type of awareness. Basically, it's learned and developed, right? And that's what we're getting here. It's an understanding. You're learning about basically how to perceive it. And all great leaders do. It says that all great leaders develop this ability. All great leaders. So this is a key element to really understand that your perception. Do you see it as the challenge as an opportunity or as something that's going to consume you? Basically, what Alicia shared with her glasses, right? So the important element is, how do you handle the crisis? How do you handle it, right?
Yeah.
And that's for everybody. This is a big quality that separates leaders and also people that lead themselves. You're a leader as well. And those that allow this crisis to consume you back to your lower self, the person, the version that you don't want to be, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Really important to understand there. You can develop it. And that's what we're doing today, right? In this short amount of time. So
I see that Dana has a comment that she had a in-person event with 2 people and was happy to be of service. Yes, congratulations, Dana, and congratulations to those people. And she's aware that she was thinking, why didn't have a larger turnover like that time, like last time? And here is the thing, that we set an expectation of something and it should be like the last time. And then when the expectation don't match the reality, then we lose this attitude of like gratitude. But let me ask something, Donna. If in the world was only you 3 and those people come to you, so you and the other 2 people, will you be happy to be there and to support them? And then you don't think that, oh, it should become more people. And this is that you say here is the opportunity for you to grow and to test. I remember I was like testing when few people came. I was testing, like, oh, I can test this, I can test this, because then it gave me the opportunity to grow even more and to serve as it was 100 people in the room.
yeah, great. I love that, Alicia. This really hits home, Donna, because this is basically what we just discussed. That's allowing the outside to affect the inside, right? And remember the definition of success: a progressive realization to a worthy ideal. So it was a success, right? You were progressively moving towards the idea that's meant for you. So sometimes we'll allow, this isn't what I envisioned, but it's happening according to plan at the perfect time.
Yeah.
And that's faith, right? That's faith over fear. When you understand that, oh, that was on purpose. Those two people needed to hear just me, right? Or just have those two people together. It's always perfect. But we allow, past conditioning to kind of shape what we believe to be perfect. It's unfortunate, but you even say it. I see the paradigm speaking in two different ways there. So at the end, you say the opportunity was for me to grow and to get more experience and to improve my presentation for next time. So that's the higher version of you speaking, right? And your paradigm is the first part, right? I had an in-person event with two people, and I was so happy to be of service and to help the two people. But honestly, I'm aware that I am also thinking, see, you have awareness, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't I have a larger turnout? So now you that's growth, and also you acknowledged it, right? So that happened for you. You see the gift that was given there for you to have that awareness, right? So it was a success. Congratulations, Don. I'm really happy to hear that, because in person is different than online, right? You're talking to somebody right there in person. That's a win, right? And remember, see the world with rose-colored glasses. That's probably where you got that from, Alicia. it's a I think it was a poem. So you're seeing all the good in every moment, all the time. That's a way powerful way
It's
of
out of this.
exactly.
Loving whatever I see with the color of love, even if it's difficult. I don't say that it's easy. It takes time, and to practice all the time, asking, okay, what is I learned from Michael Beckwith. He say, what is trying to emerge here in my life through me that I am not aware of? That is like, and it take time to the practice all the time. It's like, it's not like, oh, I did that one time and then I'm ready. Come on. No, it will come all the time. So what are you thinking, Paul?
I really loved something that Jamel said, because it jumped out at me too in Donna's comment, is that she was happy to help those two people, and but that she had the awareness that she had this sort of down thinking, right? But that you were aware, Donna, of that. That's really, really, really important, really critical. And that really jumped out at me. And, because those two brushstrokes, they do symbolize, awareness. You see both the risk and the reward closely. So you're seeing both things. You're helping people, you're thinking, and then Jamel said it great, right? It was a real good learning opportunity for you. That was your higher version jumping out when you reflected back on your experience. And the two brushstrokes also symbolizes choice, deciding where do you want to put your focus. So Don had an opportunity to say, oh, wow, I didn't have the turnout I wanted. This really sucks. I suck. I must be whatever. You're going to attach all this negativity to it. But those people needed to hear you. And you needed, like Jamel said, you got a gift yourself. And so that's really, really, really important. And then also mastery. How do you handle life situations? Do you handle them skillfully, which in Donna's case you did, knowing that both elements are present. You are aware of both sides, so that awareness in you, it is so key. And I'm sure that awareness in you and that growth in you, that you will give that off. The other people that you're teaching will feel that from you. The fact that you're aware, they will feel that. They would also have felt that if you were like really down like, wow, this is not how I wanted it to be. So you went in and you presented, I'm sure, with all your energy and your positivity, and you presented to them very, very powerfully, and they had some great takeaways from you, and you learned something as well. So really, really a dual win. So that's really great. I'm really glad that Jamel pointed that out, because I kind of saw that, jumped out at me as well. So good for you, Donna. Yeah.
And that is the small voices, that come to us. Oh, yeah, too calm, but you should be more blah blah blah. Starting to, and you need to be very like determined and say, "Shut up! I am happy and grateful that two-person come here, and I can serve from my heart and give to them whatever you do, and so yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Donna. It also reminds me, Earl Nightingale shared something in Lead the Field, and he said every day is basically a brick of your castle in your kingdom. So that was a brick, a perfectly laid brick, right? You're creating a foundation for your castle, whatever you're building, right? So as you perfectly lay that down, and imagine the next one you have, maybe two people, maybe four, whatever, you lay another perfect brick down. You're in perfect harmony with the version you want to achieve, the version of you. You're creating, making every day count, making every experience count. And this is where that awareness comes in, right? And then all of a sudden, by the end of the month or by end of the year, you're what? Look what I built. I'm this different version of me. And the outside reflects the inside. So it's always interesting when you're really paying attention to each moment and taking it one day at a time. So I'm super happy because it's awareness a lot of us need, right? It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter, it doesn't industry. We're all the same, spiritual beings, but we have different levels of understanding of ourselves. There's something in the article I really wanted to share here towards the end of the article. Let me share my screen. And they talked about, is this it? I hope, there you go. It says here, most public personalities are mental giants. Excuse me, mental giants. Their lives are examined and are openly criticized on a daily basis. So for many people, this would be an unbearable crisis. However, to the personality who has high goals and a strong desire to reach them, the public criticism is viewed as unpleasant, but a necessary part of the experience they require. A diamond in its original state, this is so good. A diamond in its original state is a rough piece of coal. It is only through abrasion that it becomes a beautiful gem. I thought that was so powerful, right, guys?
Yeah. I will say something about the awareness, because awareness is assume that you go into a room and it's very, very dark and you cannot see anything. It's difficult for you to know where to go. But if you have a light, then you can start to get some awareness what things are, and then you can do things. So it's why awareness is so important. But about also this about the criticism, I normally say to my clients that when you have a goal, if you are going to talk about your goals, you make sure that you talk to people that can support you, because otherwise you will get a lot of criticizing. They will say, oh, but maybe it's not you are not good for that, or will you do that, why you are going to do that. So it will be a lot of criticism, and maybe if you are trying to do something big, also they will criticize you, maybe not because they just want to criticize you, but I believe also that people would like to do something like that you do, but they are afraid to do that. And it's easier to criticize because we criticize from our point of view. How, if I don't have the knowledge for something that you want to do, maybe my paradigm will say, oh, but how are you going to do that? So I will trying to put my fear to you. And if you are not aware of that, you will lift your dreams and your goals. It will always will come people that criticize, and I tell them that they need to protect their ideas, their dreams, their goals. As a mother that is pregnant, a woman that is pregnant is protecting this baby in her stomach from everything that can uh, damage the baby. And here's the same with their goals. We need to protect our goals and ideas and dreams from everything that can damage that, and sometimes from ourselves. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what Alicia said there. It's really, really important, right? That people will try to, if you ask, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? They will impose their fears onto you, like their paradigms onto you, right? What they're scared of. Oh, I wouldn't do that because, right? They're putting their own fear. And also there's a lot of people, another thing that Alicia alluded to was there's a lot of people out there who they'll tell you that you can't accomplish your goals, but because they've already given up on theirs. They've already given up on their goals, so they don't see you as obtaining your goals. Or there's even some people who they might be well-meaning, but they like you the way you are. They want to deal with you the way you are. They want to communicate with you the way they're, but if they see you growing, then you're different. You're no longer that same person, and they feel, I don't know what they feel. They feel kind of lost or out of touch, or they don't want you to outgrow them or something. It could be a number of different things. But remember, we've also talked about in these talks about failure. If you never experience failure, failure is part of success. If you never experience failure, you're probably not trying hard enough. So that's a great quote about, a diamond was just a piece of coal. It becomes a diamond with abrasion. So everybody has problems. So you can, close the door, escape, never go through that door, never challenge yourself. And you will always stay the same. And, being, people would say, better to be safe than sorry. Well, that's, complacency does not help you grow. It's not always better to be safe than sorry. You have to be aware of the risks, but you have to also be aware of the opportunity. You have to see both. And since we're talking about personal growth, it's not about, denying either side, but in recognizing both. And you can choose to lean into the opportunity, but at the same time, right, the same time you're respecting and honoring the danger. This isn't say, go out and just be haphazard and just, throw everything into the wind, but you're aware and you respect the risk, but at the same time you're going to lean into that opportunity. Jamel.
Wow, this is so good. Thanks, Paul. That was amazing. That really hammers home because it even says here in the article, most public personalities are mental giants. Right there. Right? We are public personalities. Look, we're publicly broadcasting about awareness, perception, and opportunities, and wisdom and growth, and etc. Right? So, we can pat ourselves on the back because we're mental giants, right? Because we're examined and openly criticized on a daily basis. I know I am daily, right? And I had, even like, when you're doing something different, and Paul mentioned a lot of powerful things there. When you're doing something different, and maybe the closest people to you, your family, your friends, people you grew up with, they want you to stay the same. They want you to do what they're used to seeing you do. And when you're going towards a higher version of yourself, they can't understand that or know where you're going. I remember the quote, you can't share a big picture to someone with limited vision. That's huge. And that picture is the version of you who you're going towards, what you want to achieve. Hold that close, especially in the beginning stages, because you can allow, remember, the outside world, other people, what they say, what they think, their own consciousness affect yours if you're not mentally, strong. So building up this awareness, being criticized daily, even like it could be some crazy comments or just people talking to you or, whatever, right? And it says, however, to the personality who has high goals and strong desire to reach them, the public criticism is viewed as unpleasant, but necessary. So remember what I said earlier at the beginning, nothing happens to you, it happens for you. So, and it's funny, I had to kind of switch my perception because when I first started being, an entrepreneur and doing mentorship, I was allowing the negativity to affect me internally. But as I grew, I was like, this is actually good. This means I'm getting more reaction, right? So I'm actually being created into that diamond I was meant to be with the abrasion. So it really broadened my understanding. I was like, they're chipping away at the old coal. Thank you. Keep going, buddy. So you kind of, and you notice that's how I talked to myself at the time, because I had to give myself internal affirmations because I was allowing all this negativity, because I come from music and, I had traditional jobs and stuff like that. And there's the old me and everyone's used to that version. Jamel, you can't do that. That's not real. Entrepreneurship. What? That's so foreign to me. Right. And that's their belief about who I'm becoming or who I am. Right. Something inside wanted to be more, do more, have more, happy, healthy, and wealthy. Right. Right. So, and a lot of people, they give up on themselves. This is why, this is why mentorship is so important, because they give up on their dreams. They give up on their future because their environment and those around them dictate how they feel about themselves and even utilizing their imagination. So they're allowing so much outside of them, hold them down. But inside, there's something that wants to get out. And what happens, like we shared, some people never take any action towards their dreams, towards their goals, their wishes. You're either creating or you're disintegrating. So this is why we come here every Sunday. This is why you see us posting, social posts, pictures, motivation, inspiration. It's not just for satisfaction. It's to get you to get out of that comfort zone. Bondage. What is bondage? A prison of your own making. It doesn't matter how much money you're making, if you have a decent job or no job or whatever, that comfort zone is the worst place to be because you're not growing. And if you're not growing, obviously you're doing the opposite. So very powerful. Thanks, Paul and Alicia, for sharing that, because it triggered so many thoughts about,
Yeah.
where
I was watching Bindu say, I love the way you explain it, Alicia. And that made me think when I started doing some videos many, many years ago, I was so afraid that people will not understand what I say. Uh, because, like English is my third language, and it was, and then I thought, okay, the people that need to hear me, they will understand me, because there are people that they talk the same language, but they don't understand each other. So I remember I got a very bad comment somebody told me. And I say, well, if you don't want to me to say in this language, maybe you want to hear that in Spanish, or maybe you want to hear that in English, in Swedish, or maybe you want to hear that in Russia. So tell me. And then it was nobody telling me anymore, because it's like, for me, it's like, because I don't speak the language perfect, it means that I speak other language. So the criticism is like, oh my gosh. And I wanted to share about this, about the criticism, and about, you say, Yemel, with your friends. So Yemel, you have how you see the world according to this frame, and then you came to your friends, and their frames are like this, and then you're starting to try to figure out how you put your frame in that frame, but it will not. So they will not understand what you want to do. So it's important that we think, okay, we are open to listen to other frames, because it's how we expand our own frame, but we need to respect our frame. Otherwise, if we don't respect our frames and how we see the world, or our dreams, and so, we'll see, oh, but their frames are more better. If I'm more about thinking about people criticizes me, then I will say my friend is wrong and I need another frame. No, it's my frame, how I see the world, and I am open to expand that frame, not to change that for other people's frame. Another, if they criticize me, then I need to adopt that frame. No, I can use that for expand my frame, but not. So we need to respect our frames ourselves. And when we respect our frame ourselves, other people will respect that.
Yeah, well, that's so good, Alicia. It's really, I love what you just said. But it is important, right? I mean, we're going to get feedback, and some of that feedback is going to seem negative, some of it's going to seem very positive. And it's not that we have to accept or reject any of that feedback or criticisms, but really we do need to consider it, need to consider what is being said. You don't have to accept it, you don't have to, nor reject it, but as Alicia was saying, consider it and see how it applies to you. Not how I think it should apply to you, but how you feel it should apply to yourself. So we're living, in this, if you look at your life and you have this blank canvas of life, because we're talking about brushstrokes. So you have to be aware of the risks. You have to be aware of the criticisms and aware of the feedback, but you still have to be bold enough to paint something for yourself that's extraordinary. And as Jamel was saying, you're right? You're either growing or you're dying. You're growing or you're disintegrating. So you really, really want to grow. And you have the ability within you to paint a life that's exceptional, that's extraordinary. And yeah, we all have problems, but Jamel started off, about attitude. And we're talking about our attitude and what our perspective is. And we're getting all these things from the outside world, but we have to determine how to react or respond from the inside out, not to allow all these things that are going on dictate how we're going to feel. We have to determine for ourselves how we're going to feel. We're collecting all this information, but we're going to determine for ourselves what we're going to do. And that's dependent upon our perspective of things, which goes back to our attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I love it. Thank you, Paul and Alicia. This is such a really good conversation. That reminds me of how our thoughts, right, shape everything. Right. It always starts with thoughts, and we have this energy that's always flowing to us. Always flowing to us. Thoughts are energy, right? If you look at the stick person again, and you have the energy just flowing into your consciousness, your conscious mind. So just picture light just coming into my mind here, right? And what that energy, it just is. It's just pure, unadulterated energy, right? But we make it what it is. So we'll take a piece of that energy and say, oh, that's negative. That's a negative thought, right? In your conscious mind. Or we'll take a piece of it and say, that's interesting. That's good, right? So we make it positive or negative. And a lot of times we'll just keep creating all these negative thoughts in our conscious mind, especially if we allow things we see, allow things we hear on the outside world affect what goes here. So if you're doing that majority of the time of the day, and every day, you're starting to feel it. You're starting to plant these seeds in your subconscious garden, right? Your emotional mind, your infinite intelligence. You're basically doing yourself a disservice, and doing that over and over, you're going to have a really disgusting garden here of things that you don't want to grow anymore. Mm-hmm. So this is why awareness is important, and not allowing the outside to shape the inside. And, this is so important because mentorship basically allows you to understand more of yourself. It helps you become accountable, and you grow. And as you grow, the outside matches the inside, right? So, and Paul, shared it there. Be aware of the danger, yet equally as important, recognize the opportunity. Mm-hmm. There's an opportunity in every day, in every waking moment, and when you wake up, I've been doing this lately. There's an opportunity to claim your day. I've been doing it for a long time. I say, when I open the blinds in the morning, I say, thank you for the most incredible day, and then I say, thank you for the most incredible day when I close them. So that way I'm shifting my vibrational state and in gratitude. There you go. Right there. That's a law of vibration, right? Magic word, attitude. So I'm shifting my attitude every time. And there's a few other things that I do as well. But I don't know how I got to that. But the point is, see the good in everything. Anybody else wanted to share something?
I like the line at the very bottom of the article, which says, "Don't shy away from a crisis. Glean from it what you need to learn and move on." So, and that's what we've been talking about, all these different things, different people, different circumstances, situations coming up, criticisms, feedback from the environment. So, take from it what you want to learn, to learn so that you can move on and continue to grow.
Yeah.
Alicia, you had anything to add?
That's good. And remember that time is so precious. So life is short. So use the time wisely. Respect your frame, and go ahead with your goals and dreams.
Yeah. Amazing. And speaking of that, this is time to take action, right? Nothing changes unless you change. And we're all definitely here to help you with this material. So feel free to schedule a call with us. We want to talk with you. We want to get to know you. And the true you that's wishing to get out, the true you that wants to experience the most in life and make this the best life possible. So our links are in the description of whatever platform you're on. You know, click on that, choose a time. We want to apply this material. And you're in a different vibrational state. You know, we're having a great conversation, sharing some of our knowledge and experiences. And, you know, this is, if it's really speaking to you and this is, you know, you can see it really helping you towards what you want to achieve or accomplish or become, take that step and just talk to us. It's that simple, you know, to see if you're a good fit. This is just the tip of the iceberg where you can go with this knowledge. This is just scratching the surface, you know, and you'll discover more of the greatness that's just already there within you. And your whole vibration starts shifting. And even the outside will start reflecting what you've been doing with the inside and your thoughts and your vibrational state. So awesome call. You know, I'm looking forward to next Sunday as well. And the replay will be up for those that, you know, joined in a little later. And again, whoever, it doesn't matter, whoever you connect with, just reach out to us. Always happy to speak with you. And actually, I need to get back to a lot of messages as well. So enjoy this day, sunshine or rain. There's beauty in everything. All right. There you go.
Say opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bindu. So we'll talk soon. Donna, we love you. Awesome.
Thank you, Dana.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.